After 3 years nursing my disabled sister back to health, I overheard her telling her friends that I'm her unpaid slave. So I moved out that night and never looked back. Before I continue with today's story, I'd love for you to support our channel. And while you're at it, drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. We love seeing how far our stories travel. I stood frozen outside Kendra's bedroom door, my hand trembling on the doorknob with her afternoon medications. Through the crack, I heard her laughing, on a video call with her friends. Girl, yes. He does everything. Washes me, feeds me, even wipes my ass when I pretend I can't reach. More laughter. My stomach dropped. 3 years. 3 years since the car accident that shattered her spine. 3 years since I dropped out of nursing school to care for her. 3 years of sleeping on a futon in the living room of our cramped Atlanta apartment while she kept the bedroom. Judith's basically my unpaid slave, Kendra continued, her voice dripping with amusement. And the best part? She thinks she's being noble. Mama would have put me in a home, but Judith's too guilty about being the one driving that night. The pills scattered across the hardwood floor as my hands went numb. He knew. She knew I blamed myself and she'd been weaponizing it. I'd been 23, she'd been 21. A drunk driver ran a red light. I walked away with bruises. She didn't walk at all, or so we all believed. Watch this, Kendra said. I heard movement, actual movement. Through the crack, I saw her stand up from her wheelchair, stretching like she'd just woken from a nap, walking perfectly fine to her dresser. My sister. Walking. My whole world tilted sideways as 3 years of sacrifice incinerated into ash. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred as I watched Kendra walk across her room with perfect stride, no limp, no pain, nothing. She opened her dresser drawer and pulled out a pack of cigarettes, something she'd claimed she couldn't do because reaching hurt too much. How long? How long had she been walking while I carried her to the bathroom at 3 a.m.? While I bathed her, dressed her, sacrificed everything. I should probably get back in the chair, Kendra said into her phone. Judith's due back with my meds any minute. God, you should see her face when she has to lift me. Like a sad puppy. Her friends erupted in laughter. The rage came in waves, hot and cold simultaneously. I thought about the job offers I'd declined. The scholarship I'd forfeited. Dean, my fiancé, who left after 8 months of me having no time for our relationship. She needs you more than I do, he'd said, and like a fool I'd agreed. I'd chosen Kendra. I'd always chosen Kendra. My phone buzzed. A text from Mama. Baby, can you send $400? Light bills due. I'd been sending money home to Detroit every month while working double shifts at Waffle House, barely sleeping 4 hours a night. All while Kendra received $2,800 monthly in disability checks she didn't deserve. Money she spent on clothes, takeout, and apparently cigarettes. I backed away from the door silently, my heart hammering. For the first time in 3 years I saw clearly. This wasn't love. This wasn't family. This was exploitation, and I'd been too drowning in guilt to see it. I sat in my 2008 Honda Civic in the parking lot, hands gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. The autumn air was thick, humid, suffocating. 26 years old, and what did I have to show for it? A futon. A car held together by prayer and duct tape. $300 in my checking account. But I had something else now. Clarity. I called my best friend, Shanice. She answered on the second ring. Girl, what's wrong? You sound like you're about to commit murder. She's been walking, Shanice. The whole time. I just saw her. The words tumbled out, the entire horrifying story. The video call. The confession. The cruelty of it all. Silence stretched between us. Then, pack your shit. Tonight. You're coming to stay with me. I can't just. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Judith, she's been lying to you for 3 years. 3 years. That's not just wrong, that's criminal fraud. She's been collecting disability while walking around her room like she's on America's Next Top Model. Shanice was right. I knew she was right. But the guilt, God, the guilt was its own kind of prison. I was the one driving that night. And a drunk driver hit you. Say it with me, not your fault. Never was. Shanice's voice softened. Baby girl, you've paid a debt you never owed. It's time to save yourself. I looked up at our second-floor apartment window. Kendra's light was on. She was probably back in her wheelchair now, preparing to perform helplessness when I returned. Not anymore. I didn't go back upstairs immediately. Instead, I sat in that parking lot and did something I should have done months ago. I started documenting. My phone's camera roll became a repository of evidence. Screenshots of Kendra's disability deposit notifications that came to our shared bank account. $2,800 every month for 36 months. Over $100,000. Money meant for someone who genuinely couldn't work. I scrolled through her social media, really looked at it this time. Photos from 3 months ago at Lenox Mall, her wheelchair conspicuously absent from every shot. Tagged at Ponce City Market with her girls, standing in group photos. How had I missed this? Because I'd been too tired, too guilty, too devoted to notice. My phone rang. Mama. I almost didn't answer, but I couldn't ignore her. Hey, Mama. Judith, baby, did you see my text about the light bill? Something inside me cracked. Mama, I need to tell you something about Kendra. The words spilled out like water from a broken dam. The video call. The walking. Everything. Mama went quiet. Too quiet. Then, baby, are you sure? Maybe you just don't. My voice came out harder than I intended. Don't make excuses for her. Not this time. Judith Marie Lewis, that's your sister. She's been through trauma. Maybe she's just walking. Yeah, Mama, she's been just walking, while I've been wiping her ass and sending you money I don't have. Did you know she gets almost $3,000 a month in disability? The line went dead silent. I'd never spoken to Mama like this. I'd never challenged her, never pushed back. Good girl Judith, responsible Judith, martyr Judith. I was done being that Judith. I gave myself 30 minutes in that parking lot. 30 minutes to feel everything. The rage, the betrayal, the soul-crushing weight of wasted years. I cried until my eyes burned, until my throat was raw. Then I wiped my face, checked my reflection in the rearview mirror and made a decision. I wasn't confronting Kendra tonight. Not yet. She'd been playing chess while I was playing checkers, but now I knew the game. I went to Walgreens and bought a small notebook. Inside my car, under the dim parking lot lights, I started writing. Every sacrifice, every moment, every dollar. The time she needed me to quit my weekend shift because she had a migraine, then posted Instagram stories from a house party that same night. The physical therapy appointments she claimed were too painful to continue after 2 sessions. The friends who slowly stopped calling me because I was always unavailable. Dean. God, Dean. We'd been planning a wedding. He'd loved me enough to wait 8 months, watching me disappear into caretaking. I feel like I'm competing with your sister for your attention, he'd said. And I'm always losing. I'd called him selfish. I'd chosen Kendra. He'd been right all along. My phone buzzed. Kendra, where are you? I need my meds and I'm hungry. Not, are you okay? Not, is everything all right? Just demands. Always demands. I typed back, picking up food. Be there soon. I drove to Shanice's place first. She lived in a small house in East Point, 30 minutes away. When she opened the door, she took one look at my face and pulled me inside. I need you to do something for me, I said. Shanice and I sat at her kitchen table, planning like we were preparing for war. In a way we were. You need video evidence, Shanice said, pulling out her laptop. Your word against hers won't be enough, especially with your mama already making excuses. We ordered a tiny wireless camera on Amazon with overnight shipping. $49 I barely had, but it was an investment in my freedom. I'll set it up in the living room tomorrow, I said. Angle it toward her bedroom door. When she thinks I'm at work, we'll catch her. What about the fraud? Shanice asked. That's serious money. Federal disability fraud can mean prison time. Prison. The word hung between us. My sister could go to prison. Part of me recoiled at the thought. But a bigger part, the part that had been suffocating for 3 years, felt nothing but cold satisfaction. I need to talk to someone who knows the law, I said. But quietly. I don't want her knowing I'm on to her. Shanice nodded. My cousin Darnell. He's a paralegal downtown. I'll call him tomorrow. We stayed up until 2 a.m. planning. Every detail mattered. I couldn't just leave. Kendra would spin the story, make me the villain who abandoned her disabled sister. I needed proof that would make everyone who'd ever judged me see the truth. When I finally drove back to the apartment, it was 3 a.m. Kendra was asleep. I stood in the doorway of her room, watching her breathe peacefully in her bed. The wheelchair sat empty beside her, a prop in her elaborate performance. How many times had I transferred her into that bed, straining my back while she could have done it herself? Tomorrow everything changed. The camera arrived at noon while I was at work. Shanice picked it up for me and met me during my break at Waffle House. It's tiny, she said, showing me the device no bigger than a USB drive. Set it up on that bookshelf you've got. She'll never notice it. I went home during my split shift. Kendra was in the living room in her wheelchair watching reality TV. You're home early, she said, not looking away from the screen. Forgot something. I went to the bookshelf, pretending to search for a book, and positioned the camera between 2 novels. The lens pointed directly at her bedroom door. Found it, I said, holding up a random paperback. Kendra barely acknowledged me. Can you make me a sandwich before you go back? Sure. In the kitchen, I made her turkey and cheese, my movements automatic. 3 years of this. 3 years of servitude to someone who saw me as nothing more than free labor. I left for my evening shift. On my phone, the camera's app showed me a perfect view of the hallway. Now we waited. At 8 p.m. I was refilling coffee when my phone vibrated. The camera had detected movement. I ducked into the break room and opened the app. There was Kendra standing up from her wheelchair, stretching her arms overhead, walking into the kitchen. She opened the fridge, grabbed a wine cooler, walked back to her room. No pain. No struggle. Just casual movement from someone who'd claimed she couldn't stand without excruciating spasms. I saved the video, my hands shaking. Then another notification. Kendra had left her room again, this time doing a little dance move to music I couldn't hear. She was mocking me. All of this was a joke to her. By the end of my shift, I had 7 videos. Darnell met me at a coffee shop in downtown Atlanta the next morning. He was tall, serious, with kind eyes that reminded me of my daddy before he passed. Shanice told me everything, he said, sliding a folder across the table. I did some research. What your sister's doing is federal disability fraud under 42 U.S.C. Section 1383A. We're talking potential prison time, fines up to $250,000, and she'd have to repay every penny. The number hit me like a physical blow. $100,800. That's how much she's collected. Darnell nodded grimly. Plus, she's been lying on her recertification forms every year. That's 3 separate instances of fraud. The videos you have are solid evidence, but you need more. Medical records showing her initial injury versus her current capability. Witness testimony. A paper trail. What do I do? First, protect yourself. She's been living off your support while committing fraud. If this goes to investigation, you don't want any appearance of complicity. Document everything you've spent on her care. Keep those videos secure. Cloud storage, multiple backups. And Judith. He leaned forward. You need to prepare for your family to hate you. They'll see you as the one who sent your sister to prison, not the one who exposed the truth. I thought about Mama's reaction on the phone. She'd already been defensive. My aunts, my cousins, they'd all seen me as the devoted sister. I know. There's another option, Darnell said carefully. Confront her privately. Give her a chance to come clean, pay back the money, stop the fraud. No prison time. I looked at him. She called me her slave. She's been laughing about this with her friends for God knows how long. Why would she deserve mercy? She doesn't. But you deserve peace. And sometimes peace means not carrying the weight of sending your own sister to federal prison. I chose confrontation, but on my terms. That Friday night, I told Kendra I was going out with Shanice. Instead, I parked 2 blocks away and walked back, letting myself in quietly. The apartment was dark except for the glow from Kendra's room. I heard her voice, animated, on another video call. I opened the camera app on my phone, set it to record, and pushed open her bedroom door. Kendra spun around, standing fully upright beside her bed, phone in hand. For a moment we just stared at each other. Judith, shit, this isn't what it looks like? I kept my voice level, cold. Because it looks like my disabled sister is standing just fine. Actually, you know what? Don't bother. I held up my phone, showing her the compilation of videos I'd captured. I've been documenting everything. The blood drained from Kendra's face. She sank onto her bed. Not into the wheelchair, onto the bed. How long have you known? Does it matter? How long have you been walking? Silence. Then quietly, 6 months after the accident. 6 months. She'd been capable for 2.5 years while I sacrificed everything. Why? Because. Kendra's voice rose, defensive now. Because you felt guilty. Because Mama was going to make me move back to Detroit. Because the disability money was good and the sympathy was easy, and you were so desperate to make up for the accident that you never questioned anything. There was the ugly truth. I was driving, Kendra. I've been carrying that guilt for 3 years. And you used it like a weapon. You should feel guilty. She stood now, facing me fully, all pretense gone. You were the one speeding. You were the one who didn't see that car coming fast enough. I was paralyzed because of you. For 6 months. You were paralyzed for 6 months. After that, you were just a liar collecting checks. I called Mama on speaker right there with Kendra staring at me in horror. Judith, don't. Mama, I'm here with Kendra. I need you to hear something. I turned the phone toward my sister. Stand up, Kendra. Show Mama how disabled you are. Baby, what's going on? Mama's voice crackled through the speaker. Kendra's face contorted with rage and fear. You're really doing this? Your own sister. Stand up. She did, and I captured it all on my phone's video. Then I played Mama the recording from that first night. Kendra's voice clear as day. She's basically my unpaid slave. Mama's gasp cut through the speaker. Kendra Marie, tell me this is some kind of misunderstanding. Mama, she's been spying on me. She set up cameras. Because you've been committing federal fraud. My voice finally cracked. You've stolen over $100,000 in disability benefits. You've let me destroy my life taking care of you when you didn't need it. The tears came then, hot and angry. You called me your slave, Kendra. Your slave. Mama was crying now too. How could you? Judith gave up everything. Oh, please. Kendra's true nature emerged fully now, all sweetness gone. Judith needed a purpose. She was failing out of nursing school anyway. I gave her something to feel good about. I had a 3.7 GPA. The words ripped out of me. I had a scholarship. I had Dean. I had a life. You had guilt. I just helped you deal with it. The cruelty of it, the calculated manipulation was breathtaking. This wasn't my sister anymore. Maybe she never had been. I'm calling your Aunt Shonda, Mama said. And then we're calling Social Security. Baby, I'm so sorry. I should have seen. I ended the call and looked at Kendra. I'm leaving. Tonight. I had 2 suitcases. Everything I owned fit in 2 suitcases. Kendra sat in her wheelchair now, a last desperate attempt at performance, watching me pack. You can't just leave me here. What am I supposed to do? Walk, I said flatly. You're good at that. Judith, please. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry I said those things. I was just venting to my friends. For 2.5 years. You were venting for 2.5 years. I threw my clothes into the suitcase with shaking hands. You watched me cry about losing Dean. You watched me work myself sick. You watched me give Mama money we both know you should have been sending. And you felt nothing. That's not true. You called me your slave. I whirled on her. Do you understand what that word means? Coming from your mouth to mine? You made me servile in my own life, Kendra. You took my power, my choices, my dignity, and you laughed about it. She was crying now, but I felt nothing. Empathy required humanity, and she'd shown me none. What's going to happen to me? I honestly don't care. The truth of it settled in my bones. Mama knows. Aunt Shonda will know by morning. Social Security will investigate. You'll probably have to pay the money back, maybe face charges. That's not my problem anymore. We're family. Family doesn't exploit each other. Family doesn't weaponize guilt. You're not my family, Kendra. You're just someone I used to know who destroyed 3 years of my life. I zipped the last suitcase. My futon, my few pieces of furniture. I'd come back for them with Shanice later. Right now I just needed out. I needed air. I needed freedom. At the door I turned back. Kendra was still in that wheelchair, still performing. You should probably stand up. You'll get sore sitting like that. I closed the door on her protests and didn't look back. Shanice's spare room became my sanctuary. I slept for 14 hours straight that first night, my body finally releasing 3 years of exhaustion. When I woke up, my phone had 63 notifications. Texts from aunts, cousins, mama. Half supportive, half accusatory. How could you leave your disabled sister? Aunt Marlene wrote. Shanice had already responded. Disabled? Check the videos. The videos went viral in my family. By Sunday morning, everyone knew. The reactions split predictably. The older generation wanted reconciliation. She's still your sister. The younger folks were outraged on my behalf. My cousin Jasmine sent me $200 with a note. For all the money she stole from your life. But the message that broke me came from Dean. Shanice told me everything. I'm so sorry, Judith. I'm sorry I wasn't patient enough to see what you were going through. You deserved better from all of us. I called him. We talked for 3 hours, catching up on 2 years of silence. He was seeing someone now, serious. I was happy for him, genuinely happy. We'd been collateral damage in Kendra's schemes, but we'd both survived. On Monday, I called Social Security's fraud hotline. The investigator, Ms. Michelle Pierce, was kind but thorough. We'll need those videos, medical records, witness statements. This process can take months. I understand. Ms. Lewis, you should know. Your sister could face up to 5 years in federal prison and be required to repay all benefits received. Are you prepared for that outcome? I thought about Kendra standing in her room mocking me. Yes. One more thing. You did the right thing. People who commit disability fraud take resources from those who genuinely need them. Your sister stole from taxpayers and from you. It was the validation I'd needed. Not from family, not from friends. From someone objective who saw the situation clearly. 3 months later, I stood in the admissions office at Georgia State University. My old nursing school credits transferred. My scholarship had been reissued after I explained the circumstances. The advisor actually cried listening to my story. You're the kind of person we want in nursing, she said. Someone who understands sacrifice and resilience. Kendra's case was still pending with Social Security, but the investigator told me they had enough evidence to proceed. She'd moved back to Detroit with Mama, who was making her work at Aunt Shonda's salon to start repaying the family members she'd borrowed from over the years. We hadn't spoken since that night. I didn't expect we ever would again. Dean and I met for coffee sometimes, just friends now, supporting each other through healing. Shanice had become more than my best friend. She was my sister in every way that mattered. I still carried guilt sometimes. Not about the accident anymore. Therapy helped me understand that a drunk driver's choices weren't my responsibility. But guilt about the time I'd lost, the opportunities that wouldn't come back. My therapist, Dr. Nicole Washington, reminded me, you didn't lose those years. You invested them in learning who you are and what you're worth. That's not loss. That's expensive education. He was right. I'd learned I was strong enough to rebuild. Brave enough to stand up to exploitation. Worthy of respect and reciprocity in relationships. Kendra had taken 3 years, but she couldn't take my future. On my first day back at nursing school, I wore the necklace Dean had given me years ago. A small silver compass. So you always find your way, he'd said. I'd packed it away when we broke up, but now it felt right. I was finding my way. Finally. Without guilt, without chains, without being anyone's unpaid slave. I was free, and freedom felt like flying.